Hiya, good morning. And yes, Nico, the music is off. I'm just learning about the music start thing. I'm just trying to see what I can do with that. And of course, I've got to use epidemic sound because otherwise I'll get flagged for copyright everything. All right, where am I? Just tighten this up. Good morning. Good morning. It's what day is it? Monday. It's Monday, the 13th of October. I always have to look at my computer to figure out that because I don't actually know it. Good morning, lovely flat sea from Rob. Welcome, Rob. How are you? Are you looking forward to the next flotilla? I think it is. I never know if it's. I don't. I never know exactly which people are on the comments because I don't have their full names there and everything like that. But anyway, so good morning for the weather update today. It is Monday the 13th of October. This is 45 degrees sailing and we're on our Sharpen Up day 3. I'm going to eat a piece of mandarin while I run the... Come on, man. Cutscene.
That was a bit weird.
All right, I figured that out. I wasn't organized. I was not organized. Definitely. So by that comment, I'd say that is Robert Klein, and he's on the next flotilla on Yanina, and that's going to be fun. All right. Weather today. But only if you promise me more wind, mate. You got wind last time. Do you want to dock that boat in 25 knots on the beam again? I'll send you in first. You know I will. And yeah, actually, that was quite fun. All right. So weirdly, my apparent wind speed is measuring at 0.0 knots right now, which I'm not sure is 100% correct. But our apparent wind. I'm just going to check that widget to see if it is. Does it need resetting? Maybe there is just no wind. There's a little bit of wind on the water that we feel here, but there could well be no wind up top. So that's absolutely fine. All right, let's look at the weather today. I know how to do this. I know stuff about computers. There we go. This is really kind of depressing. This light, no, it's not. It's just this light wind is crazy light. Okay, so we've woken up to this. Let's just refresh this to make sure we've got the absolute earliest. We should have got an 8 o'clock update on that forecast. And here we go. Okay, so this is us Monday morning 8 o'clock, and moving through to kind of nothing all day. Obviously, this is us here in Hvar right now, in Tiha, and it's just a very kind of confused day of nothing. Though what I look at in this is look at everything that's going on. Right, we've got northeast running through here. So last night on the VHF, there was a gale warning. And let's put the gust maps on so we can see. Oh, where's my observations over the weather rating? We got a gale warning for Velebit Channel. And now the Velebit Channel is up here above Zadar before you get to Pula and all that, and it's the Velebit mountain range runs all over here by Parklanisa. And we get a gale warning for that area just about every time there's a northeast. Any northeast you get and they're saying last night 50 to 60 knots. All right, so you can have gale warnings and completely calm nights in Croatia. So you just got to be understanding your areas you're in. So that was flowing up through there. But whenever we've got this sort of weather running, we see what the drift is, and the drift is kind of northeast off the mountains. But also, if it's that quiet, we've got clear blue skies, it's going to be hot, we're going to get that pickup of sea breeze in the afternoon again. That is the whole premise of okay, it's really calm, so we're not gonna have nothing, but we will get that heat change in the early afternoon and get some wind running through. So we opted to take what wind we could out of the end of Drvenik yesterday, and we sailed, and we got sailing to about mid Shelter, or top of Shelter, but we were only making 5 knots 5.2 knots, 4.1 knots at times, because it was only 9 to 12 knots of wind. So we had to make the call. Well, I made the call, but this is what you've got to do. You've got to make the call to say, we need to put the motors on and we need to get there, because we had 21 miles to cover in total. But so we had that extra 18 miles to go, and we were going to be arriving in the dark. As it was, we were going to be arriving in the dark because I had a falling forecast and very calm expected sea without the moon, though. I do like this experience for people of arriving in the dark for two reasons. One, experience arriving in the dark when you've got a support system, you've got us, you've got the flotilla, and we can help you out with all that. And two, arriving in the dark, which I said to a couple of the crews, to realize what arriving in the dark means, what it really means. And if you do not like that feeling, or if you know, like, coming to a new place in the dark is hard, like really hard. So you just don't plan to do that at all. So this is about learning your routing, learning your timings, and planning and making sure you make the right decisions. And if you're in a situation like, shoot, we're not going to arrive till 7:30 and it's dark at 6:20, maybe we should change our plan. Okay, so it's experiencing that in a controlled environment so that you can make really informed decisions. Okay. So what I was getting back to saying there is what I'm looking at is the general drift in here. Now, by 2 o'clock, there is a northwest drift anyway. So I'm going to throw sea breeze into that and temperature and what happened yesterday and say that we should have 12 to 15 knots for a time in the afternoon, which I'm really hoping for. So we did this travel down, we did that distance because I wanted to be in Stardigard today for tonight for docking practice. We're going to go on the pier, we're going to go have a pack out water and stuff like that, which is great, but I wanted to be here for that and be able to play the wind for actual sailing here today instead of travel, because if we were trying to travel on a light breeze downwind, that doesn't necessarily always work. But if we are using that breeze to play within the bay, tack up and down and turn around, we can get decent sailing conditions. We can get nice speed and learn trim and learn, you know, have a little pretend race or whatever it is to actually get some experience and fun out of that without having to cover 15 miles to where we want to go. We're already here, so it's a 20-minute motor to Stardigard Pier, so we get to then have a cruising morning. Had a big day yesterday. We're gonna have a cruising morning. People have a swim if they want, whatever, good food, coffee, and then we'll get stuck into it. So as we look throughout the rest of the week, just run through the week and see what's changing. Again, I'm looking at the gust maps on GFS and on ECMWF. Just gonna drop over here. What an exciting update. Nico. Shut up. Yeah, it's really not. You don't know, it might be exciting. Looking at the rest of the week, Monday night, maybe some northwest will actually continue, turning to northeast. It's really sad. It's going to be very confused. So like this forecast really now doesn't mean anything. This forecast means something. For 10 o'clock on Wednesday, we are expecting an actual flow of border, but this is not going to be super strong, and it's certainly not going to be strong down here. But we'll see, it could change, but that's an actual flow of border instead of just like of northeast, instead of just a calm nothing. And this one here too. There we go. So then we should have some nice sailing conditions with some southeast potentially kicking in on Thursday, which is good because that could sail us home, depending on where we're going on Thursday. And then now this is so far out that look at the difference in models between GFS and ECMWF here. Now with Southeast, I tend to be more on the GFS side of things than on the ECMWF. I tend to trust Southeast there more, and with the Northeast, I tend to trust the ECMWF. So look, we'll see what this all turns to, but it's so far out now that it doesn't matter. But it's not relevant. So that is our weather update for today. Let's see. Downwind and a breeze worked for one boat yesterday. I got your stats, man. I never saw you go above 2.8 knots. But fair enough. And no, that's fair enough. But hey, look, we had a really good. I think we had a really good day yesterday. So we left for the Sharpen Up, we left the anchorage in Venetia, and headed just short trip. We had a tiny sail. We were only doing 2.5 knots, so I won't kill you on that one, Nico. Around to Drvenik. You're right. Yeah. It's just a camera. That's right. You got branding on. Down to Drvenik, and we did some that little sail. Then we did some anchoring with stern to with lines to the shore, which was really good. So that was a nice introduction to that for some of the boats. Good practice for others. And thank you, Rob. Have a lovely day. Keep my fingers crossed for some wind. Thank you, man. Had some lunch there, had a swim. It was beautiful weather, so that was really good. Then a nice little sail out of the top of Drvenik and starting to head down the side of Sholto until it was that downwind we talked about, and we just had to put the taps on. Though we hung back with Calypso, because Calypso's little slow. They've got a smaller engine than the rest of us, so we hung back, and we did actually do some sailing alongside them, because if we just broad reached, we sailed. It was good. So we did a little bit more of that, and then headed into the dark. It was very dark when we arrived. I actually got a little bit disorientated, and even with the chart, boats with anchor lights on, it's just something disorientated me, and we ended up. I mean, Richard was driving, but under my hey, go over there type thing. And I was disorientated, and I was in a slightly wrong space. And the team were like, radioed me and said, "Who are you anchoring next to? Because it's not us." It was quite funny. But it is very deceptive how far the shore is from you and what you can see in the dark like that, and what's that? Which bay you're in, and what boats look like at night when they've only got an anchor light on. Remember, that anchor light is at the top of the mast 90% of the time, 99, it's at the top of the mast, and you can't see a lot of what's going on at the base if they haven't got lights and cabin lights and all this sorts of stuff on. It's one of the reasons when boats come into the bay with us, I put our underwater lights on, and maybe my cockpit light, because then they can see much more depth perception of where we are, versus an anchor light which is dotted into the distance and could actually be very close. So yeah, that was come in, but we anchored up, stern lines to the shore, and we've got Calypso rafted alongside us. They have also got their anchor out. That was a really good thing. So that's us. I'm going to see our skippers over here for a briefing in 15 minutes, and we'll talk about how exciting our sailing is going to be today. Or what the things we're going to do today instead of sailing, or alongside sailing. Anyway. All right, that's the lot. We'll talk to everyone at the briefing, and if you're watching the channel, thank you very much for joining. I hope this is helpful, and if you're interested in doing our Sharpen Up with us next year, okay, May's almost, I think May might be full actually, but October's got some spaces. But if you're interested in doing the Sharpen Up, get in touch with us, and then we can look at some dates that'll fix you. Oh, I'm not going too far on that call just yet. That's an alumni thing. You kind of got to do a Sharpen Up before you can do that trip. That's exactly right. Everyone hears this one-sided conversation.
Typical Hathaway.
Typical you guys talking to me on a live stream. Go away. All right. Out.